Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. On the podcast, we'll talk to experts on everything from Thomasville history and events to daily operations and city business, all while having some fun in the process. We're your hosts.
I'm Austin Reams.
And I'm Tara Pearson.
Hello, welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. I'm Austin Reams. I am so glad you are here. I am here with Tara Pearson. She is the Public Information Officer with the City of Thomasville. And Tara, let's it's in the middle of February. It's obviously Valentine's Day is coming up. When is it too early to buy a Valentine's Day present? There's a little controversy about that these days.
Austin, I don't think there should be any controversy. Valentine's Day is every day, not just one day. So it's never too early to go out and get the gift.
All right, that's a good answer. We may get our guest answer on that too. It's a little more difficult for us guys to figure that one out. But Tara, introduce yourself a little bit and introduce our guest today.
Hey, thanks, Austin. I'm Tara Pearson, Public Information Officer for the City of Thomasville. My co-host today is none other than Austin Reams, Media Production Manager for the City of Thomasville. Austin is, in my opinion, someone who is so hilarious. You really have to meet his media personality.
I'm worried about you.
Behind the scenes, filming, documentaries, everything. You can't say no more good about you, right? We have our newly appointed council member, Royal Baker, here with us. Royal, thank you for coming on the show today. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, definitely. Glad to be here today.
Before we kind of get into the interviews and stuff too, but you guys were newly elected and you got sworn in. So just tell me about that experience of being sworn in and just what that was like. I know your family was there. What was that like?
Yeah, absolutely. It was interesting, and I pre-warned everybody as much as I could because I do have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and neither one of them are real good on following directions around 6 o'clock. That tends to be the witching hour, I guess. So we did the best we could, but my 2-year-old was very, very excited with everybody and certainly putting on a show. I think that was maybe even more exciting for some of the people in the audience there than what we were doing. That is interesting because I am, I guess, the now youngest city council member. So just different phase of life there compared to the others with the small kids. So we always have fun with that.
That's right. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Obviously you married, have 2 kids, and they brought some energy to the first council meeting. But tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so grew up here, went to school here. Grew up actually playing in the creek at McIntyre Park. So it's a miracle I'm here and didn't get snake bit. But those were my stomping grounds growing up. Went off to college, went to Auburn, got a finance degree. Stayed up there for about another year afterwards because I met my wife there. She went to Auburn as well, and so and certainly was able to convince my wife to come down and had a great run in banking. Really enjoyed it, but had an opportunity that popped up for me to go full-time in real estate. Ended up, I work for a real small firm. It's just me and one other person, and I sell a little bit of real estate on the side, and I also have some rental property. So
you're rooted now.
Yeah,
Seems
rooted.
Like you came
yeah,
back to Thomasville.
That's
and got
right.
Yourself rooted.
Yeah, fully invested in the community. So
That's a good segue to our next question. Why did you decide to run for city council?
Well, that particular reason actually, I've accumulated quite a bit of property over the years, and you get to talk with people moving into town all the time. You don't realize how many people come to Thomasville to work or to retire or even go to school. I mean, that's you'd be surprised. And so you talk to all these people and you get to hear other experiences and other things that they've done in life and where they've come from. And then you get to kind of boil all that into one thing and so that really, with me being invested in the community, in every neighborhood, just about every street, I have something. So So it's one of those deals where I felt like, hey, I could make a run at this and give it the old college try there.
Yeah, in a good position to serve, and knowing housing is a big deal for communities all over. It's going to be a big topic, moving forward. A lot of cities are going to be talking about that. So, with your background as well, what are some policies? What are some things you think for the city of Thomasville? We want to be as fiscally fit as possible. What are issues that you see, or things that you want to champion for that?
Yeah, definitely. I know everybody has experienced it. Things cost more. Everything costs more. And it seems like life continues to get more complicated. Nothing's easy anymore, right? We just came off a huge COVID crisis, and that fundamentally changed the world, and it disrupted supply chains. And with that, you had you couldn't just go to the store and get baby formula. That hit us. I mean, that was like a real life thing where it was like, all right, hold on, where's the baby formula? And it's not there. And what is available is now $67 instead of $38, which is already enough. And then you get hit again at the pump, and even driving through to get a bite to eat, everything's just more expensive. What that led to was, gosh, everything costs even more on a municipal level or a governmental level, just to repave your road. So it's more important now than ever, really, to take a deep dive into the budget and look at every single thing that we do and ask ourselves, are we being good stewards of the citizens' money, and are we doing everything to the best of our abilities in order to be efficient, to cut costs? Or are there other ideas and things out there, trends, whatever, that we can change and do something to save a few bucks? And that directly equates to savings to our citizens. Obviously, taxes are a big issue, and the city was looking at reestablishing the city property tax, and that was to help fund some of the shortfalls in our budget due to just costs of life. And so that's going to be a hot topic here, I know, for the next several years, because it's something that we haven't gotten used to yet. We hadn't figured out yet. So there's lots of stuff there that can be done.
So focusing on community, because I noticed that is something that you were focusing on in your response there. What do you think we should be doing to ensure a more just and equitable community, switching from a more task-oriented to a relationship-oriented viewpoint?
Yeah, well, I think what's important is everybody has as much opportunity as possible, and that comes with being transparent, being open, being able to ask questions, being able to talk to people, being able to come up and say, hey, I don't understand why you did something. Can you please explain it? And help people with their questions. And you can certainly look at, especially here, I'm a firm believer in, if you really want to be able to do it, you can do it. I know we hit roadblocks along the way. There's laws, rules, regulations, and stuff that people feel like they're singled out. I don't think that's the intention of any of that. I think that luckily in Thomasville, we can make a change. We can make changes to something that, hey, we don't like it. We're small enough in this community, especially, that we can all say, all right, hey, let's take 2 steps back, take a look at this, and see, all right, are we on the right page? Are we making the right decisions? And you can see that across everything. I mean, it's one of those things that, just as long as our policies and procedures are aligned with what the public wants, and having an open line of communication, feel like everybody has some representation.
All right. Well, again, we're here with Royal Baker, new city council member. Tell us, what are your goals for your first term?
So, just really, really looking at that budget, and we have a lot of issues. Obviously, everybody knows we have aging infrastructure. We have roads that need to be repaved. As mentioned earlier, those are not cheap. We got to pay for those. We have a lot of upgrades that are a requirement on a federal level. There's a lot of environmental things that have changed, and the United States as a whole is going more green, and that can be defined several different ways. But just on our local level, for example, you can't have the same amount of gray water discharge from our sewer treatment facility. We're going to be required to do an upgrade. That's going to cost approximately $20-something million. Being able to pay for those things is a big deal right now. Same things going on with the landfill. But hey, I talked about sewer, I talked about landfill. Well, we got to have water too. We have a lot of leaky pipes, and that's just some of the stuff downtown's over 100 years old, and it's past its useful life. And I think we're going to really have to come up with a plan to be able, now that costs have soared so much, to really take a look and replace those things as needed. And I know everybody flips their light switch on, and with the way things are, it seems like we get hit every month with some type of storm or whatnot. And I know I got a lot of phone calls asking when if I could help them get their power back on. And
Welcome to City
yeah,
Council.
that's
City
right.
Council.
I assured everyone that the city was working as fast as they could to get that back up and operational. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
speaking of budget, right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
speaking of
that's
budget.
We want those lights
Throwing a
on.
monkey wrench in
We
there,
want those
right?
lights on as fast as possible.
Right, unexpected expenses for sure.
right.
And lastly, Royal Baker, if you could tell the citizens, everyone in Thomasville, one thing, what would that be?
Gosh, that's a tough question. I think one thing would be have fun, and remember we are going to get through this. And I know that it seems like life throws stuff at you, and it seems like it's the end of the world. But you just got to keep chugging through it, and that's going to be what I attempt to do here, because I know I'm not going to make perfect decisions, and I know nobody's perfect and nobody makes perfect decisions, but if you have a positive attitude and give it what you got, I mean, I think in the end things tend to work out in your favor. So that's my message is, hey, just stay positive and give it all you got.
All right, well, Royal, thank you for being here. Thank you for serving on the council, and it is a difficult and thankless job, so I want to go ahead and say thank you, but it's very important, serving at that local level. There's not the glamour or anything, but it's so extremely important to have and engage citizens like yourself and others who come in and serve. And it's another full-time job, and we appreciate you and all the other council members who serve now and in the past. We appreciate them.
Right, we appreciate you, Royal, and everything that you're coming in and standing for, and we look forward to everything, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. We know that you guys have a lot on your plate. Coming up, we have part 2 of the podcast, a newly elected council member, Lucinda Brown.
Welcome back to Insights. I'm so glad you guys are sticking with us, and we have another new council member to talk to. And Tara, take it away.
Thank you, Ms. Lucinda Brown, a new council member here. Briefly tell us about yourself and why you're so passionate about serving Thomasville.
Well, thank you both for inviting me here. And I just can tell you that I am Lucinda Brown. I'm a dedicated person to our community. I've been here all of my life. The only time I left was a few years when I went to college. And I was right there in Tallahassee and came back all the time. I have 3 children, and 2 of them are here, and 1 is in Alabama. I have about 9 grandchildren when I add on my bonus grands, right? And I am a graduate of Thomasville High School, Florida State University.
Go Knowles.
Oh, yes, yes.
Sorry, I had to get that in there. Sorry.
And yes. Mm-hmm. And I have worked over 40 years in advocating for our citizens and advocating for Thomasville. I am members of several organizations here in Thomasville, a sorority and, with church and all of that. NAACP is where I was ex-president, and Equity in Action, where I'm now ex-Equity in Action, where I was the director. And we were a nonprofit just trying to make sure that building wealth in our Black communities and rural communities. Beyond that, let's see, I have a understanding of our communities, especially the ones that we live in.
Well, let's talk about that. What would be some things we all love it here, live here, no place is perfect too. What thing would you change about Thomasville?
I probably would change the way of our resources here in Thomasville being distributed into our community. We can look at, the west side and the south side, and we can see that we were left behind for so long on those sides. Because if we were not, then our sides wouldn't look like that. And it also has to do a whole circle. It's like a circle. It depends on economics. It depends on education. It depends on how much money you can make or not make. It depends on everything that goes on in a person's life. Because in the end, all of that will reach out to where you will end up from where you're beginning to where you're going to end. If education is not there, you can just about think that you're just about going to stay where you were and where you've been. So education is important. Our economics, our businesses, our small businesses, all those things make a difference because when you have small businesses in Thomasville that are in our communities, then it also get people who can work in those small businesses. And as you know, as a nation, small businesses have more people working than anybody and than any company. And so I just see that we can do a lot of things in Thomasville. I want to do it in a positive way instead of even thinking about we just apart.
So you mentioned looking at all of Thomasville, and you touched on your passion for education, your passion for economic vitality. What do you think what do you think some policies that we could champion fiscally?
I do think that some of the policies you may be able to look at will be changing maybe the way that we are spending our funds here in Thomasville, changing or advocating for more federal and state grants or any grants that are out there to be spent in our city. We should look at the worst part of our city to bring it up because, as you know, if everybody is brought up, and especially the South and West Side community, if we're brought up to a level, then this Thomasville will be a much better place. I do believe that when we have housing, we get rid of those dilapidated houses in our city, and when you go out into a community, and you go door to door, because I've been doing it for 8 years, and you're knocking, and you have a door here, and then you have to go 4 houses down before you get to another door. Those houses that are there, if they wanted to get rid of them or sell them or anything, it wouldn't be worth nothing. Why? Because of the neighborhood itself. These things have got to change. I think we should be getting together with Habitat for Humanity. I think we should be putting in for funds. I think we should be doing entire communities, nonprofit developers, however it comes so we can do better.
Housing is a big deal. We talked about that with Royal Baker as well, just kind of how housing is going to be. Housing and infrastructure are probably going to be the topics that are just going to be, you guys are going to be dealing with a lot. And you probably touched on this, but are there things that you want to work on to, how can we be the best we can be? What are things we can work on to be more of a just community, you think? And I think you touched on that a little bit, but is there anything specifically you want to add to that?
Well, in city government, I just think we should be looking at balancing our budget. And if that means cutting back on some things that we really may not really need, We need to do that. We need to make Thomasville where if I walk out of my door, it's going to look like if you walk out of yours. We have got to become better in saying that everyone matters. We have got to become better in saying that we can do more if we're doing it together. We all have to have a seat at the table. You cannot make decisions on people's lives, and they don't even know what you're making a decision about.
So am I correct in saying I'm hearing most of, or some of your goals for Thomasville? One is building rapport with community.
Yes.
Two, housing policy changes. Are there any other goals that you have for the city of Thomasville in your first term?
I want to, and I pray that we become forward thinkers, okay, and look at how we can see and feel and know everybody.
Kind of wrapping up the interview, but we've got a little bit to go. But last question of just kind of, maybe an encouraging thing or, things that you want to tell the citizens of Thomasville now, what would that be? What would you tell people?
I would probably tell everyone that Thomasville should be a place to live, work, and play in our communities. We should be able to communicate and not feel that somebody is going against you because that's the way they feel. You really should be able to communicate to bring people together, to say, I understand you, you understand me. We can agree to disagree, but we're going to try to work on this together. We're going to do everything that we can to make it possible for Thomasville to be able to be the place for all of us to live, work, and play. We need places for our people to go. We have nothing for our kids to do. We have nothing for our mid-aged people or, older people. There isn't anything that we have close. Now, I know there are some places here that kids can go, but how do they get there? So I'm asking Thomasville to just let's try to make this work. I am on this communication with the workforce plans that they're doing, and we're trying to get together and figure out how we can bring everybody together, listen to people, talk to people, know people, and just be a better city. It is not easy because my thought process is totally different from probably yours. But we can come together on how we can make it possible. And that's where I am. I think that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And if you love something, you're going to find a way to make it better, right?
Yes.
There's going to be disagreements, and I'm always like, you hear disagreements a lot of times healthy because hey, you love Thomasville. Let's families fight sometimes, right? Oh, hey, what's the best way to do that? So. But Lucinda, thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do. I always try to thank a council member because you guys have a tough job. I always,
I'll be finding out one.
But it's like when Royal was here as well. It's always I appreciate all the hard work that y'all put in to represent Thomasville and get us going in a direction. We certainly appreciate that.
Lucinda, we appreciate you for joining us today and taking out time of your busy schedule to come on the podcast and give us a little bit more insight on your goals for the city. Just a few announcements. February 17th, we will have our semi-annual sidewalk sale here downtown Thomasville. Come out and patronize all of our businesses. Grab a bite to eat. Grab you a cold drink because it may be a little warm now that the freeze is over. So come out and celebrate with us then. And then mark your calendars. Rose Show has already been declared April 26th and 27th. We want to have a good time, family fun, and enjoy everyone in Thomasville.
Thanks again, Lucinda, for joining us. And again, appreciate you and your hard work. And thanks everyone for joining us. I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app.
You've been listening to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. The show is produced by the City of Thomasville Marketing Department. The show's music is by pond5.com. To learn more about the City of Thomasville, visit thomasville.org or follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.